Hey Mena Warriors, my name is Kate and welcome back to my channel where I share a weekly video with you every Monday about something related to menopause. Today we're talking about empowerment during your menopause. Empowerment is not just a concept, it really is a guiding force for you to create or for you to find unparalleled strength and resilience through this chapter of your life. I started to go through perimenopause. I think, like most of us, we don't really realize what we're going through. It's not something we get taught in schools. It's not really something I don't think that many families share, to be quite frank. I think it's a very personal and private experience, and it's also a very individual experience. We all experience things differently. Menopause is just a jigsaw piece of a myriad other jigsaw pieces that make the full puzzle. Depending on your life circumstance, depending on the environment you find yourself in, depending on where your health is right now, depending on your stress levels, you will have a completely different experience of menopause to me and your best friend and your mum and your sister or your daughter. We all go through things entirely differently. And when we start to expect that we should go through it in a certain way, we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot. For me, like I said, perimenopause crept up. I was young. I'd gone through the entire thing, I think, by the age of 41. And I was told by my doctor, I was told by my nurse, I was far too young to be going through perimenopause, despite having quite a few of the symptoms. And my first symptoms were the night sweats. Those were just awful. And then it was the hot flushes that really affected me. I'm a psychotherapist and I specialize in anxiety. And that actually started weighing really heavily on me. It would wake me up in the early hours, like this crushing feeling happening on my chest and my body, made me feel quite nauseous. And thankfully, I was able to recognize it for what it was, and I dealt with it. And my lifestyle very much supports a sort of anti-anxiety lifestyle, but I'm not immune to it. Last year was one of the most difficult years I've had for years and years and years, due to external things, but things I had to learn to deal with and either accept or draw a line under. And it really was. It was 2023 was annus horribilis in my book. So I'm hoping 2024 is going to be a better one. But I have to say, January is a great month for planning ahead and laying our intentions, but also taking actions on those intentions. I have days when I don't feel like doing a bloody thing. I have days when the actions that I take most days, sometimes it's just like, oh, I don't even know if I can really bring myself to do that today. Yeah, we have these doubts. We have this sort of falling resilience, and all we can do is do our best on each individual day as it appears. However, there is so much that we can do, which I'll share with you in today's video, to create a strong foundation. So on those days when you're not feeling your best, when you're feeling a little bit sort of wishy-washy or a bit weak around the edges, don't feel quite like the survivor that you did yesterday, if you've got these actions and this commitment to where you want your life to go, that makes a massive difference. I did this planning with my team not long ago, and we all set our intentions for where we wanted to end up at the end of December 31st, 2024. How do we want that to look? And then we've broken it down into quarters, and then those quarters are broken down into months and then weeks and then daily actions in order to make sure that we get there. There is no guarantee that any of us will get to that position that we've all foreseen, that we want to be experienced in our mind already for 2024, December 24. But I tell you what, there is something incredibly powerful about having a plan that you set yourself upon and committing to achieving that plan. It might be that vision that we have for ourselves, we actually exceed it. Who's to say we won't? But at least if you're taking regular action towards where you want to go, it does give you a real sense of control. It helps fight through those fears that might be holding you back. Action will always fight through fear. It's just, you have to make yourself do it. There is no easy way. On days when you don't feel like showing up, you just have to blooming do it. But I promise you, once you start to take action, commit to doing 5 or 10 minutes of the stuff you don't really feel like you want to do, and all of a sudden it's not so bad, it's not so difficult, it's not so scary. But leaning into that fear really is the only way through it, because the more you hold back from doing things that you know you need to do but you don't do, that fear just compounds, it gets bigger, it grows into this horrible monster, and it can become really chaotic in your mind. It can really negatively affect your thoughts, can negatively affect your sleep, and that then just has this negative impact, knock-on effect to other aspects of your life. So first and foremost, if there are things that you're holding back from starting, lean into them and get them done. Take a deep breath, do the, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm doing it. And I think in a lot of instances it's because we're not entirely sure what we need to do. Just take messy action. So long as you're doing something, you will tweak as you go along. Rarely do any of us know the full course of where we need to go. I mean, like, okay, I planned right through to the end of December 2024. I think the actions that I'm committing to are going to help me get there, or if not even get beyond it with a bit of luck. But I just had to put some basic actions in place. And over the course of the year, those actions are probably going to change slightly. They will be tweaked, but just commit to something. Take messy action. It doesn't have to be perfect. None of us follow this perfect map, or the people who really will achieve things just start and accept that it's going to be messy to begin with, and things will need to shift and move and evolve. Life is not linear. Yeah, unfortunately, every year we get older and older, but that doesn't mean to say you need to get older in your brain, older in your mind, older in your thoughts, older in your commitment to the rest of your life. Let's make this stage the best of your life, rather than feeling like it's the sort of second half and it's in the shadow of your first half. So with that, I'm going to come up with some tangible tips and help that will hopefully make you feel more empowered throughout your menopausal journey. And if you're feeling a bit weak and wishy-washy at the minute, to inspire you to actually take action. So firstly, let's have a look at your lifestyle. So when you are physically strong, when you are feeding your body with the nutrition it needs, it makes your mind stronger. When you know you're building lean muscle, when you know that if you fall over, you're likely to bounce quite well. I mean, I climbed 2 mountains at the beginning of this week by accident. I plotted the wrong route, which incorporated 2 mountains instead of 1. Yeah, not the best at map reading. And it was quite challenging. We were facing very, very cold conditions. I'd taken my 2 small dogs up with me, and in actual fact, I could not get to the absolute peak of the original mountain that I wanted to climb. I had to bail at about 30 feet off the absolute peak, just because it was treacherous underfoot. And in actual fact, I had to shimmy down over 100 feet myself on my bum and my feet, because it was just too dangerous. There's too much snow, too much ice. The wind chill up there was incredible. I poured some water into my dog's bowl at the top, because we were all quite thirsty by the time we got up there. And as I poured the water out of the cup, it immediately froze. I've never seen anything like it before. It was a real eye-opener for me. And on the way back down from there was some black ice underneath what looked like quite safe terrain to walk on. I went on it. I was carrying a ram skull down from the mountain that I found. I'd left up there a year ago with my son when we'd been up climbing it. And when I went up with my son, we climbed up a river. So it was just too dangerous to actually bring the ram skull back down then. But I'd always been keen to try and go and see if I could find it again. And I did. So I was carrying my ram skull in one hand, and I got my very heavy backpack on, and just slipped on this ice and fell down, and literally most of my weight went on my left hand. Thankfully, because I've got strong bones from all the strength training and hopefully the decent nutrition, nothing happened at all. I just bruised the palm of my hand a little bit, managed to save the skull. I was well impressed with that. And it's things like that. It's those unexpected circumstances that can really knock us off course. It's like, most of us, if we bend down, we drop a pencil, we bend down to pick it up, we might cross over our central line because we don't bend down correctly, or we haven't got a strong core. Again, that's when most injuries occur. It's not the serious injuries, it's people bending down to pick up the pencil off the floor. It's coughing or sneezing and putting something out or pulling a muscle. That should not be happening to us. We ought to have a strong enough body in order to help us live functionally, at least live functionally. And this is no judgment. I know fitness, getting strong can be quite intimidating. It can be, well, where the heck do I start? But incidentally, in the description beneath this, I have got this fantastic fitness quiz that I want to share with you. And you get free fitness workouts and some nutritional advice as well when you complete that quiz. It literally takes just a few seconds to do. It'll ask you your level of fitness, what type of workout type of workout, type of exercise do you prefer? It'll come up with a system for you that you can then follow, put into action, and just enjoy it. And those workouts are the ones that I do pretty much every single day, apart from rest day, like yesterday was. But when you have a strong body, it does help you build resilience into your mind. It also helps you get rid of stress hormones, because working out really does. If I'm ever angry about something, I work it out, and it just goes. If I'm frustrated, I remember when my dad was dying, and this was not a workout, but it was about 11:30 at night, and it was pouring down with rain outside, and I just had to get out of the house. It was just like, I've just got to go and do something. My brain just felt like it was about to explode, and I remember just gardening in the pouring rain, just like taking it out on the soil, as it were. And the rain was really cleansing, and I came in absolutely saturated, freezing cold, but somehow I just felt like I'd connected to earth a bit, and I just felt like I could manage a bit more. and it really was. It was about just getting through each day and managing a bit more and just doing your best. When we can find these functional ways of helping us manage the stressors, helping us get over the concerns and the worries and the horrible things that happen out there and to us as well, it really does build that sense of resilience within you. It gives you a sense of, actually, you do have more power than you think you might have. Nutrition also is really important, because if you had a racehorse, you wouldn't feed it a load of rubbish if you wanted it to win a race. If you wanted it to get fat and have joint problems and have a poor coat and not breathe correctly, yes, you'd feed it rubbish. But if you wanted it to be healthy and fit and possibly win some races, you'd be feeding it the best stuff you could get your hands on. Well, you are the same. You are that racehorse. We live in this society which almost mocks people who want to go teetotal. It mocks people who decide to cut sugar out of their diet. It mocks people who just take a few baby steps to improve what they're doing in life. We have this backward way around us, where if you're doing something to support yourself and you are very clearly looking after your health and wellness, there are people that will mock you for it, and they'll snigger. That says everything about them, not a lot about you. They're either jealous that you're doing it and you've got the strength to do it, because it does take personal power to commit to living a healthier life. And the more you're advancing, the more they are not advancing. People like to keep you stuck where they're at because it's comfortable for them. Even if they think they love you or they say they love you, there is no greater demonstration of self-love than to actually care for your body, care for your mind. So if you're coming up against that resistance, don't let them hold you prisoner. Be the light that might encourage them to finally take the steps and the action to improve their life as well. You're eating a lot of the not so healthy stuff, you're drinking a lot of the not so healthy stuff, you're not moving your body adequately, your health will suffer, and so will your mental health, because our gut health is very important for our mental health. You're not going to have energy, you're not going to feel motivated. You have no idea the amount of people I talk to who say, oh, I just have no willpower. That's because of what they're feeding themselves. It's because of the lack of movement. Once it is a commitment to start something new. I had to go through that myself. Everybody that I work with in my body confidence community, they all have to face that day when they think, oh God, here we go, let's press play and let's do it. Okay, let's do a little bit of meal prep. What were those recipes that we were talking about that looked so delicious, and I wanted to do them and I never got around to doing them, instead of the stuff that I know isn't serving me. We all have to do that. None of us is immune to thinking, oh, can I really be bothered? We all go through that wall. But I promise you, on the other side of the wall, oh my goodness, it's bright, it's energized, it's happy. It gives you so much control. So lifestyle really is incredibly important to set you up for success. It will help you balance your menopause hormones more effectively. When I'm on point with my nutrition, my menopause symptoms pretty much vanish. The reason I still have the odd one or two is because I do have the occasional coffee, and I have 1 or 2 glasses of red wine every night. Sugary stuff isn't so much of a problem. If I cut out the red wine and the caffeine, I know my hot flushes would go, and I would just just a little bit more toward the pinnacle of ultimate health. Please don't think you need to be doing like an hour a day, 5 or 6 days a week. If you can only manage 20 minutes a day, 3 days a week, do that. If you can only manage 10 minutes a day, 3 days a week, do that, because you can build up from that. When you're going through perimenopause or menopause, it's more important to do strength training over cardio. Cardio is great. It makes you feel great. You know, you get the runner's high, etc., etc. If you love cycling, you get out and you can explore. But you also need to be incorporating some element of strength training, because that's going to help to keep your bones strong. It helps to keep your muscles lean. It helps to prevent that atrophy, because as our estrogen levels fall, cortisol levels rise. Cortisol is one of our stress hormones, which is why you probably have an easier predisposition to feeling stressed and anxious. But it also breaks down tissue. So it breaks down your bone tissue, it breaks down your muscular tissue, it breaks down our skin, our hair, everything just goes south. But if we can exercise, eat relatively well, drink plenty of water, then we can help slow down that aging process. Water is incredibly important, particularly if you're getting hot and sweaty at night, or you're having plenty of hot flushes through the day. You need to be drinking, ideally, your body weight in pounds divided by 2 equals the fluid ounces of water you need to drink. So don't worry about that. If you weigh 140 pounds, for instance, you need to be drinking a minimum of 70 fluid ounces of water every day. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you need 100 fluid ounces of water every day. So I hope that clears that up, because if people say, well, just drink 6 glasses of water. Well, how big are those glasses of water for a start off? It's just like, it's arbitrary. Work out what your weight is approximately, divide that by 2, and make sure that you're drinking that result as a minimum in fluid ounces throughout the course of the day. If it's any consolation, I drink about 6 of those glasses full of water every single day. Stress reduction techniques will be very important for you, because like I mentioned just a few minutes ago, as estrogen falls, cortisol rises. Things like meditation, yoga, hiking, just being out in nature, just being mindful of your thoughts, having time out, peace, especially if you're an introvert. I am an introvert and I really cherish my own time. I get plenty of it because I'm single and I work from home. But make sure, if you live in a busy lifestyle, that if you need that peace and quiet, that you take yourself off for that peace and quiet. You might find journaling really helpful. To get things out of your head onto paper can be really cathartic. When I was looking after a man who knew he was dying of cancer, and because I used to work with hospice, and then I also do massage therapy and psychotherapy at home, and specializing in anxiety. And he had several things that he was very worried about, and one of them was he hadn't spoken to his father for years and years and years. He wanted to, but he hadn't even told his father that he was dying of cancer. And progressively this man was getting weaker and weaker. And so he decided he really needed to commit to contacting his father. And the way we got around it was to suggest that he wrote a letter without the intention of sending it. So he wrote the letter to his dad. And so I saw him the one week, and the next week he came in and I said, oh, how did you get on? He said, yeah, I've written my letter. And then the next week he'd rewritten the letter and actually sent it to him. So his dad was part and parcel of his latter few weeks, and the father and the son were able to rekindle their relationship before, unfortunately, the son did pass away. But sometimes just getting your fears out on paper, just journaling what you want to achieve or what you're worried about, it doesn't even have to have a solution. It just gets it out of your head, and it's a very, very cathartic exercise to do. So if you're stuck in your mind, stuck in your thoughts, give that a go. Write yourself a letter, write yourself a love letter, and keep it. And then write yourself a love letter next time you're feeling a bit down in the dumps, because you can go back through them as well, save them, put them in the Lever Arch file, or keep them on your computer or something. I think if you're doing something to help you heal, rather than typing it out, which can be a bit clinical, it's just get some paper, get a pen or a pencil, and scribble stuff to yourself. You can doodle, you can draw things on it, and you can do squirrely arrows and things, and circle things, and highlight things, and really let your creative juices flow. And I think also that in and of itself is also a release. So you're not only getting the words out of your head, you're allowing your creativity to flow onto the paper. in however that is the best way for you. Sleep hygiene is incredibly important. Sleep is the cornerstone of everything. And if you're sleeping poorly, which I know is a common problem in menopause, make sure you're in a cool room, make sure it's a dark room, avoid screens like the plague at least 2 hours before bed, avoid caffeine in the afternoon, avoid too much alcohol, avoid too much sugary stuff, avoid. What can you do? You can keep dim lights for the hour before bed. You can possibly read a book for a few pages because that will help you naturally start to fall asleep. Keep a cool bedroom. Everybody goes on about their morning routine, which is great, but have a nighttime routine as well. Maybe make sure you eat by a certain time so you're not eating too late. Have a sleepy tea rather than a cup of tea or a coffee if you're struggling to go to sleep. There are some lovely sleepy teas out there, herbal teas. You know, what in your ideal world would create your perfect bedtime routine? And discover what it is for you and then stick to it. Or even, you know, if you can't do it every night, if that involves languishing in a bath for half an hour or so, if you're not able to do that every night, do it maybe 3 times a week. But try and stick to a routine that honors you, that's pleasant for you, that's pleasurable for you, rather than, you know, you're sort of fighting the clock to get into bed in time to then feel frazzled, and then you can't go to sleep, and it's like, oh, and then you get more frustrated, so you find it even harder to go to sleep, and then you wake up at 2 in the morning because you're having all these hot flushes or the anxiety that's creeping upon you. Have a strategy that will help you sleep. I will link to a video that I did not long ago on sleep, because that also has a free sleeping guide in the description to it, and you might just find that helpful to download that. So limit processed foods and sugars. I've sort of been over that as well already, but if you're feeding your body with healthy stuff, it will help maintain healthy sleep patterns, but it also helps you balance your hormones. You can look at foods that are high in phytoestrogens. To be quite honest, if you eat a wide range of whole foods, so lots of green leafy vegetables, some soy products, soy products tend to be high in phytoestrogens, so things like tempeh, tofu, I can never say the word edamame, I don't know. Milled flax seeds or milled linseeds, those are the same thing. They are high in phytoestrogens. They're also very high in protein. They are a brilliant source of plant-based protein. So if you like have cereals in the morning or you have Greek yogurt, make sure you've got some milled flaxseed or milled linseed on it. Turmeric is a great one, anti-inflammatory, but it's high in phytoestrogens. Cruciferous vegetables, so things like Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, those have a particular compound in which is referred to as DIM, D-I-M. If you can eat plenty of cruciferous vegetables, those will also help you get rid of excess estrogen, but also support your menopausal symptoms. And depending on where you're at, if you're feeling very vulnerable, if you're really worried about your symptoms, go and see your GP, and you might have to see your GP several times. I've heard horror stories from some women, and I've heard really great stories from others. So make sure, you know, you are not being a pain in the bum. If they are not giving you the service that you really feel that you need, then keep at it. The GPs are there to provide a health service to you, and it's important that you get the support that you need. And then finally, take action on these things. If you're stuck in a relationship that is no longer serving you, that you've tried, it's not working, take action. Either commit to getting help, external help, and trying to make it work, or get out. Don't stay stuck. If you are in a career which is bullying for you, which is toxic, which isn't helping you either pay your bills or helping your mental health, there are so many opportunities out there. Forbes, I quoted this in my business opportunity webinar just last week. Forbes in 2025, it's got in the digital marketing space, there is the greatest amount of female millionaires than there has ever been in any other marketing space. If you're not either getting the fulfillment from your career, if it's negatively impacting you, just know there is so much that you can do. If you want to learn more about how to explore a career that helps you prioritize your health and wellness, and where you will get incredible mentorship to help you build an effective and profitable business, then please click the link in the description box below. I run a monthly business opportunity webinar where I just share about how I earn an income by using social media as my brand, how I help people get healthier and fitter and happier. And you don't need any particular skill sets in order to do that. If you want to get the replay from the last webinar, just send me a comment. Ideally find me on Instagram at Kate Hartley UK. It is linked in the description below this, unless you're already watching this on Instagram, in which case just send me a message to say, please tell me more about the business opportunity, and I will do that. I'll send you the replay from the previous one, and we can always hop on a call and have a chat about your goals, what your fears are, what your hopes are, and what you want to achieve in life. Wherever you are at, by taking action and leaning into those fears that are probably holding you back right now, it is phenomenal what you can achieve. It does take action. It does take leaning into that fear. And I absolutely promise you that when you do, you will feel so much more empowered because you're on the path. You may not be at the end destination. When are we at the end of this? When we end up in our coffin? The journey is always evolving. But if you're stuck in that situation which is just not serving you, change it, because you can. And make sure you have a plan where you know where you want to go. If you're just aimlessly going through life and you have no particular plan, it's going to be a lot harder to get there because you don't know where you're going. It's like opening a map and thinking, oh, well, I'm just going to drive today, but I have no idea where I'm going to drive. Well, you wouldn't have no idea where you're going to end up. So really put a plan in place, implement. What do you want to achieve? Try and think, where do you want to be by December 31st, 2024? And then break it down into those quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily action steps for you to get there, whatever that is in your life. If you've got a significant amount of weight to lose, look at losing £2 a week. That's so achievable, so easy to do. If you want to earn more income, you don't have to give up what you're currently doing, but you can incorporate an extra hour of building a profitable business, which is how most of the ladies that I work with start, to create that financial independence. It might not be money that you need more of. You might need more purpose. You might need a community. You might actually just think, I really want to grow myself. I want to develop in all types of areas that I haven't developed in yet. Figure out what you really want to achieve and then take action on achieving that. So with that, I hope it has been helpful for you. Share it with anybody else if they're floundering in life, and I will look forward to catching you next week. If you've got anything you would like me to discuss in a future episode, please just send me a message and I'll make sure to add that to my rotation. Thank you so much for your company, and I look forward to chatting to you again soon.